Working under a troublesome boss can be stressful. Now imagine how stressful it will be if you fall in love with your boss's brother. Welcome to the second part of the Oh My Boss, Love Not Included. Reiko goes with Nami to a very famous gathering and she is in awe as to how rich all the people are. She comments that that kind of gathering is a place where they will get several clients for advertisement. However, Reiko insists that her mentality is very bad and it is a poverty mentality. Hence, they can't get all their clients in that gathering. As they enter the gathering, Nami sees Rio. She doesn't want Rio to see her, so she hides. Rio calls Reiko and they talk. She says that she has seen Nami just now, and she doesn't know where Nami has gone. Reiko says they can see her later and Reiko proceeds on her duty. However, after they leave, Nami stands up from where she is hiding. She feels bad that the celebrity that she had loved so much is the same one who is in love with the boy she loves and she doesn't want to find herself messed up in the situation. She looks at Rio as she does her display and sees that Rio isn't the kind of person she can compete with, and if June is in love with Rio, she can't compete. After the program, she goes to meet Reiko and lies that she missed her way from the restroom and she had to stay there. As she walks away with Reiko, they see Reiko's father, Horai, the owner of Horai's publishing. She greets him and Nami is also shocked to have seen June's father. Horai introduces them to director Shintani and tells him about Reiko's business. Reiko quickly excuses herself saying she has other things to do and she has to leave. Upon finishing the program, Nami still feels awkward to meet June. When she gets to the front of her house, she sees June there. He asks her if he has done anything to offend her but she says no. He asks why she is avoiding him and asks to enter the house. He offers to make dinner for her and when she refuses and starts making the dinner herself, he asks to use her bathroom. She wonders if he wants to spend the night with her and she says she doesn't think they have the relationship to do that. He reminds her that they have slept at her house together before and she had also slept at his house. Before she says Jack, he has slept off. She goes to work the next day but she is still disturbed as to what had happened. At work, Reiko approves a new magazine and one of the editors also tells Nami that since she had worked on one of the magazines that was approved, she should work with her as an assistant. She insists they have to tell Reiko first to see if she will approve. Before meeting Reiko, the vice president, Yugijin, announces that the magazine they will be printing that week will be the end of their magazines as they will be closing down the company because they don't have enough funds. Suddenly, Reiko gets a call from Shintani. He says he wants to advertise with their company and he wants to see her. Before meeting him, Nami comes to tell her that she wants to work with the new editor. She says okay and says she doesn't even need Nami to be her assistant for the time being. Nami sees the card of the date with the vice president, Yugijin, and she meets with Yugijin appreciating him for stepping up upon realizing that Reiko likes him too. When they reach the date, Reiko apologizes to him for being unable to revive the company but he tells her she doesn't have to worry about that. When Nami gets home, she sees that June has brought several equipment home. She wonders if he intends to start living at her house and says they don't have a relationship that should allow them to do such. Suddenly, she gets a knock on her door and assumes it is June but sees it is Rio. She tries to stop Rio from entering the house but Rio assumes that she has a cockroach in the house which is why she is stopping her. She enters the house and tries to help her kill the roach. As they do that, Nami finds out June's underwear is on the floor. She quickly pushes it under the chair before Rio sees it. Rio notices there are 2 toothbrushes in her room. She asks if June has asked her out and Nami wonders how she had known it was June she was talking about. She says that she saw Nami's reaction when she saw June with her. She admits that she was once with June but June is the kind of person who if he decides to be with someone, will be with her so she will support Nami and support her relationship with June. She talks about when she and June started their relationship. Their parents were friends and she left the country for Italy to study when she returned. He asked her out, and she reminded him that it would be a long-distance relationship. He agreed to be with her but until 1 month when she refused to come home for break because she wanted to study. Since then, which is about 10 years ago, they haven't seen. Reiko also meets Shintani and he tells her he wants to buy all their advert for a whole year. She reminds him they have taken the advert for the next edition but he claims he knows and he wants it regardless and he will pay her for it. She asks if it was her father that asked him to do that, and he admits that Horai told him about it but says he decided by himself. The following day, June has to come to the company for a shoot, and Nami's editor tells Nami about how she had met June after their last get-together, and she thinks June is her dream man. When June hears that, to make Nami feel better, he announces that Nami is his girlfriend. She is shocked to hear such an announcement. When they get home, she tells him how happy she is but he tells her he likes her, and she shouldn't underestimate herself and he hugs her. He goes for dinner with his father and sister, and Horai reminds him that he will soon take over the company, and he should enjoy his fun while it lasts. Reiko also asks Horai if he was the one who sent Shintani to her. Horai asks her why she had left the company she was working at in Paris to come to a liquidating company, and she says it is because the person who recommended her had helped her before. Her father tells her that coming back is a waste, so she leaves there and remembers when she had decided to go to Paris too and how her father said it was a waste. She goes to meet Shintani for another meeting, and after the meeting, he asks to eat with her but she says she is busy, and he also says, "What a waste." She gets dizzy and collapses. She wakes in the hospital and Yugijin comes to meet her. He tells her that if they get the deal with Shintani, it will save the company from liquidating and he appreciates her for her help. At work, Nami finds out about Reiko's illness and June also goes to the hospital to check up on her sister. He advises her to learn to rely on people as she can't do things alone, but she leaves the hospital and says she is fine. When June leaves her ward, he sees Rio in front of the neurosurgeon's office. He asks her what is wrong but she says it is nothing and it's just a work hazard. He asks her to eat a meal with him, and she accepts. Meanwhile, Nami goes to take a shoot with Nakazawa. She recalls his passionate he is about his work and tells him that when a person does what they love with the intention of pleasing themselves with it, she doesn't think that is work. Instead, it is a hobby that only fetches money. So the best she can say Nakazawa is doing is a hobby. He advises her to stop thinking about such and just work to her satisfaction. She agrees to do as he had advised, and he also advises her that if she wants Reiko to speak to her, she can call Reiko. She goes to attend a meeting with Reiko, Yugijin, and also Shintani. She watches as Shintani says he wants them to publicize a new business in their magazine but he hasn't finished the work and he wants them to talk about it like that. Nami talks and says she doesn't think it's a good idea. To make matters worse, Shintani says that he wants them to stop working with Jessica, a model, because she models for their competitive company. This makes Nami says that it will make their company a one-man business, and there is no point doing that. Shintani gets angry at her idea, says that it was Horai who made him interested in the investment, and says he would prefer having a conversation with Reiko without Nami. As they walk away, Nami tells Reiko that if she takes the deal, the company will stop being the same company she wants to protect so much, and there will be no reason to protect the company. She goes outside and cries, and Reiko comes to meet her to tell her that she has rejected the deal with Shintani. She appreciates Nami for bringing her to her senses. Nami is so excited that she runs to inform June. However, June notices that Ryo's hands are diseased and she won't be able to play again. She confesses to him and he hugs her. Nami sees this and gets heartbroken. She goes to the office in tears and talks to her editor. Nakazawa sees her, and he walks to meet June, telling June to better take care of Nami, and if he doesn't, he won't hold back any longer. June asks him what he means and walks away while Nakazawa returns to work and confesses his feelings to Nami. He tells her that if she accepts to be with him, he will never make her cry. After he leaves her, he goes to meet June again, telling him that he will never allow himself to lose to June, and he will ensure he gets the woman he wants. When Nami arrives at work the next day, she keeps wondering what Nakazawa could have seen in her that made him fall in love with her, as she can't think of it. She proceeds with her duty and advises Reiko that they can get her dad's company to advertise with them so they can save the company from drowning. However, Reiko refuses, reminding her that her father's company produces tissue, and it doesn't make sense to advertise tissue with fashion items, but Nami insists the tissue is from a big company too. Her parents visit Tokyo and she meets them at home. Her father sees 2 toothbrushes in her room and whispers to her mother about what is happening. They decide that she isn't a kid and she is probably with Kenya. June suddenly visits and she drags him out and tells him what he had done to hurt her. He insists that he only hugged Rio because she was down, but Nami wonders if he hugs everyone that is down. He wonders what he can do to make her forgive him, and she asks him to think about it. Her mother comes out and sees June. She assumes June is trying to stalk Nami, so she sends June away and says she doesn't want June to be with her daughter as her daughter is in love with another man. The following day, June meets Rio again. She tells him that she wants to get her results from the hospital and she needs him to follow her. He accepts to go with her, but she feels bad about it and says that she still likes him, and as long as he remains kind to her, she will keep feeling hurt. Reiko meets a friend who asks her to get a big brand, Isobi, to advertise with them. The team plans a trip to the town to meet the owner of Isobi, and they plan to go the next day. Also, Nami's parents meet Kenya and they see him with another woman, not even the one he is dating. They ask him if he is too timing, and he tries to beg them not to tell anyone in his company as he may lose his job. They return home sadly and Nami notices their demeanor as they tell her that she can return to the village with them. She laughs and tells them she has found out about the issue before and they don't have to worry. She goes with her team to the town, and she goes for the meeting with the president of Isobi. She finds out that Reiko is still in the city, and she will be coming late, so Reiko asks her to keep the president engaged. At home, June visits her family and he takes care of them. He takes them out and makes them feel better. After several minutes of keeping the president waiting, Reiko arrives and she pitches her work to the president asking for his advertisement. She has considered Nami's advice and she wants to use her father's company too. The president likes her suggestion but says that if she had come for the meeting early, he would have considered her, but at that point, he can't. She reveals that she had been trying to meet the coach and bring him a gift, which was why she was late. She brings the agreement she had made with the coach to get him to invest in Isobi and tells the president that he should call her if he is interested. The president finds out that Reiko had walked down because she didn't find the bus despite being on heels. Nami returns to the get-together, and she meets another colleague who is in love with Nakazawa and had overheard when Nakazawa had asked her out. The lady tells her not to think about her and accept Nakazawa if she wants to. Unfortunately, Nami loses her bracelet when they are talking. The bracelet was given to her by June, and she doesn't want to lose it, so she goes to look for it. Nakazawa comes to join her in the search, and they look for it until late evening. Since they can't find it, they leave for a hotel, but they can only get a spare room. They take the room, but Nakazawa refuses to sleep in the room with her, as he wouldn't like it if he were her boyfriend. He returns to the river to find the bracelet. When it is time for Nami's parents to leave the city, they comment that June is very good and nice, but he complains that he doesn't like the way he is nice to everyone, as it can't be mistaken. Her mother tells him that he doesn't have to feel that way. He waits in front of the company for Nami but finds her colleague, Kazumi, who informs him that she missed her train and will be staying with Nakazawa. He immediately takes his bike and drives to the village to find her. He sees a cat on his way and carries it. That night, Kasumi sends a text to Nami to tell her what she has done, and Nami's mother also calls her to explain how nice June is. Reiko goes to her office to treat her injured legs, and Yugijin comes to help her treat it. The following morning, Nakazawa finds Nami's bracelet, and the president of Isalbi calls Reiko to accept her offer. Also, when Nami comes out of the hotel, she sees June giving the cat to the owner of the cat and tapping his head. She calls out to him and sees that he is injured. She asks him what had happened, and he says he fell from his bike. She sympathizes with him, but he reveals to her that she is always on his mind, and even when he was driving his bike, he couldn't stop thinking about her. He hugs her and Nakazawa sees them. They return home and they continue their relationship. Also, the project that Reiko has intended starts coming into reality gradually, and they are all excited. They plan to join Isalbi with Coach and their magazine to create a new lotion, and it will be a great deal. Yugijin, who was also not happy with the way the deal with Shintani had ended, also tells Reiko that Shintani has decided it will work with Reiko's opposition, and he is fine with it, and he will also help Yugijin to achieve her goals in the company. June visits his mother and tells her that she has allowed him to do all he wants to do for several years, and now he also wants to do what she wants, so he will return to the company. His mother reminds him he had spoken about a girlfriend and tells him to bring her the next time. Nami feels uncomfortable with Nakazawa's declaration of feelings for her. He gives her the bracelet he found for her, and she appreciates him for it, and tells him she sees him as a respected senior. He immediately stops her, telling her he was just kidding with his declaration. While heartbroken, his crush in the office comes to play with him. Work goes so well for the company until Yugijin brings bad news. They have gotten a sloop from a new magazine called Splash, which intends to produce about Reiko's bullying and how she had bullied Nami severely. When Nami sees the snoop, she admits that Reiko is a hard person but says Reiko isn't that hard. Reiko and Yugijin immediately travel to meet the president of Isalbi, but he says he doesn't think he wants to continue with the deal with them, as he has been getting disturbing news and his company is growing and he doesn't want to destroy his work. The process for the magazine has to stop and the entire company is disturbed. The following day, Nami goes with Handa to the village to meet the president of Isalbi. They try to beg the man, and Reiko suddenly comes to and asks them what they are doing. Nami gets into an argument with Reiko in front of the president, talking about how Reiko tries to make the company better but in disguise makes it worse. The president realizes Reiko isn't that much of a bad person and decides to trust her the second time. He accepts to work with them, and on their way, Reiko reveals she knew Nami intentionally got into the argument with her and asks her what she thinks will happen if Reiko didn't fall for her bait. She insists she knows Reiko will fall. They return to the company and start their preparation again, but find out the cameraman will no longer be available to take the pictures for 10 shoots. While they all prepare in a hurry, some cards fall from Handa's purse and Izakiwa finds a card from the magazine that wrote the snoop. He asks Handa where he had gotten it from, and Handa says he met the man in a restaurant. They get talking. They realize it was Handa who had mistakenly sold their team in late minutes. They quickly contact June, who comes to work with them. June calls Reiko sis, and they are all shocked. After work, June introduces Nami to Reiko as his girlfriend and tells her that Nami is no longer a fake girlfriend but an original one. He returns home and calls Ryo to ask about her hospital report. He apologizes for not going with her, and she tells him that the doctor said it was only stress and she should take time to rest, and she will get better. However, that is a lie, as she had been held not to be able to play again. The company produces both the lotion and the magazine and they make sales. However, it is too late, as Yugijin goes to the meeting and it is held that the merger will be done and the magazine will be discontinued. Handa gets a call and tells the other team members to pack their things. Before leaving, Nami meets Reiko and asks that no matter where she is kept after the merger, she wants to continue working under Reiko. Reiko wonders if she wants to continue to be an errand girl, but she says it's not about that. She respects Reiko a lot and Reiko has given her a dream that she never had. Reiko admonishes her that she wasn't the one who gave her the dream. Instead, it was the profession, and she should hold the profession instead. Nami goes on a date with June, and she finds the paper she had written after she began the relationship with June, where she wrote the things she wants to do in the relationship. June hopes to try his best and make her achieve them all. Meanwhile, Reiko meets her worst enemy in the profession, Asami, who works with Seal, the company that had taken over their company. She tells her that after the merger, it was held that Miyavi should continue to exist because, after the lotion, several companies wanted to work with them. However, the only condition is that Reiko will be fired. She laughs at the idea, but Reiko tells her she had planned it earlier. Reiko informs her that no matter how worse things get, there is one thing that shouldn't die, which is fashion, and that is why she had come to the company, and she is fine with resigning. She gives the magazine to Asami and leaves. Yugijin finds out and insists that Reiko can't be fired. However, his president tells him Reiko has accepted the idea too. After a fun day, June kisses Nami and asks her to marry him. He tells her that she will be moving to Kanazawa with him if she marries him, and she accepts to marry him. She doesn't think much about the fact that she may have to lose her job to go with him. She returns to work and they expect Handa to come with Reiko, but they are shocked to see Asami. Asami tells them that she is their new chief editor, and says they must bring her their idea for the next exhibition by the next meeting they have. By the time Asami leaves, all the other staff are shocked. While they all see Reiko as strict, they all want to keep working with her. Yugijin meets Nami and asks her if she knows the reason she is still in the company. He reminds her that when an editor is fired, her assistant is to be fired or transferred with her, but Reiko was the one who said that Nami should remain with the magazine as she trusts Nami. He also talks about how Reiko had told him that she liked the last date they went to. Nami goes to find Reiko and sees that Reiko is working at the engineering department of the company. She speaks with Reiko, who says that she never cared about working with the company, she only wanted the magazine to survive, and she had done just that. Before leaving, she announces to Reiko that she wants to get married to June and leave with him. Reiko replies to her with a question about whether she knows why she wanted her to be retained and if she wants to leave her job. She thinks about the question and hugs June when she gets home. The following day, they show Asami their inspiration for the magazine, but Asami says the magazine is for business, and they should bring what people want to read. They are turned, so they all go to beg Reiko to return, but again, she refuses. Asami meets Shintani, who reveals he was the one that published the bullying issue with Reiko, and Asami has to do what he did if she doesn't want that too. Asami pours water on his head and walks out. Handa had also resigned because he assumed he was the one that caused Reiko's demotion. The other staff went to meet him and tell him he wasn't at fault, so he didn't have to be worried. One day, as Nami is leaving a boutique, a woman keeps stalking her. She meets the lady and it turns out to be June's mother. She tells her about how Reiko had fought with her father because of her trip to Paris, and how it had made their family confusing. She also talks about how Reiki has said she won't come for the family meeting where Nami will be introduced. Nami meets Reiko to invite her, but Reiko refuses. Also, Rio meets June and confesses that her career is over. Nami goes to the meeting with June's parents, and she tells them about how Reiko is awesome. They realize that they don't know how awesome she was until then, but Reiko enters and says that she isn't that awesome. She says that fashion makes her happy and she just wants to make others smile the way she smiles. Her father stands up and apologizes to her for not believing in her, and she also apologizes to him for not taking over the company. As she walks away, Nami comes to meet her and says she has found her dream. Reiko says that is why she had made her stay in the company. The following day, Nami meets June by the seat they had first met, and June gives her a ring telling her that she should make her decision. Nami also meets Rio, and Rio advises her that June can't go for his dream because he has to take over his father's business, so if he finds out that Nami can't go for her dream too, June will also feel so bad about it, so she should make his decision. That evening, Nami meets June, who hugs her. He asks her if she has found her dream. She starts crying and tells him that she has found her dream and she can't be with him at that point, so she gives him back his ring and walks away in tears. For the next few weeks, she is always depressed. She sees everyone around as June, and she looks forward to seeing June every day. She mistakes one of the cameramen for June, and she is very depressed. The company goes through several issues as some of their investors resign, and they no longer want to work under them. Asami realizes that she isn't fit to take over the business, and she just wanted to get the job because she wanted what Reiko had. She has realized she can't do it, and the company needs Reiko. After she resigns, Yugijin goes to meet Reiko to return to the company, but Reiko says she isn't interested. Unfortunately, the new launch that the company has for their new edition was leaked. It was the launch of Hinata, a new star. The model's mentor refuses to work with them again, and they meet Reiko for advice, but she tells them she doesn't want to work with them again, and they should think about the way to make the leak a publicity stunt. They meet Hinata, who accepts to take new pictures with them, and they are excited. Handa becomes the acting chief editor, and in celebration of his appointment they have a party, and they invite June. June comes there and announces to them that he is going to resume at his father's company. He leaves the party and he meets Nakazawa, who advises him that he doesn't have to let Nami go because of her dream, and she can do everything together. They eventually finish with the magazine and they take a copy to give to Reiko. When Reiko gets it, she comes back to their office and says she isn't interested in their magazine and they shouldn't send her their magazines again. As she walks away, Nami walks after her and tells her that she had written an article in the magazine and she had used everything Reiko taught her, so Reiko should please consider them. Reiko thinks about all they have told her, and she returns to the company the next day and tells them that she will return to working with them. They start their project and they finish up. As they complete the project, Oshi, Jun's assistant, calls Nami and she goes to meet him. On the other hand, Jun follows Rio for her surgery, and before he leaves, Rio begs him to go for his dream. He suddenly receives a call from Oshi, but Nami speaks to him. She says she has deleted his number, but she wants to be with him for a day, even as a fake boyfriend, so he should be with her for that day. They meet at night and they have fun. She says she has a place to take him, and she takes him to his warehouse where he keeps his pictures. She tells him that Oshi had taken her there, and she has realized that while he made her get her dream, he is leaving his dream. She begs him to go for his dream too. As a result, he goes to meet his parents and announces to them that he doesn't want to succeed in the company. Reiko also enters and tells them that if they want him to succeed, then they should let him do what he wants to do. Horai stands up and meets his children. He tells them that even if Jun doesn't succeed in what he has gone to do, it won't be a waste, so they should do what they want. Reiko goes to meet Yugijin. She tells him that she wants to resign and says she wants to start her own company. She tells him she wants to start relying on people and says if he is ready to work with her, then he should let them work together. He asks her if she is speaking on a professional level or a personal level, and she smiles at him. She goes to pack her things at work and she meets Nami. She tells Nami that she didn't know that she would resign before Nami, and she tells Nami that Jun is leaving for Colombia that day to become a cameraman, and she should meet Jun. Nami runs out of her office to find Jun, but Jun comes to meet her at work. She appreciates her for all she has done, and tells her that he still wants to be with her if she will wait for him to return. She accepts to wait for him, and they hug themselves. Several years later, the magazine continues and they have worked on several editions. Nami resigns from work and goes to resume at the company Reiko had opened with Yugijin. She finishes work and she wonders why Jun hasn't called her since he went to Colombia. He had given her the ring back and she wonders if she should keep waiting. She gets home and her sister shows her a YouTube video of Kenya. She sees a painting of the seat she sat on and sees the photo was taken by Jun. She runs to that location and looks at the photo that says, "Let's go to Colombia." She goes to the bench to sit and remember Jun, and she suddenly hears him tell her that the seat is wet. He comes to her and tells her he has gotten a job at a company there, and the poster was his first project. They hug passionately and they sit. They realize the seat is wet with paint, and they stand up in laughter and kiss as the series ends. Turning our passions into work is a difficult goal, but not impossible. If you enjoyed our summary, subscribe, leave a comment, give us a like, and check out our channel where you'll find stories that might interest you.